Hey, and welcome to the Meditations and Musings podcast. I'm Elena. I'm a mama, I'm a wife, and I'm the founder of the Divine Self-Care Circle membership and the Virtual Retreat Academy. I don't believe that you have to sacrifice your body, your health, or your family in order to create true abundance and prosperity. I believe in living based on the divine feminine metrics of success, and these include pleasure, play, ease, grace, and a slower pace. Each week, I'll bring you 1 to 2 new episodes. One of these will be a guided meditation that you don't have to do on the meditation pillow, and the other will be a conversation to help you access your inner wisdom, to ignite abundance, and inspire others to do the same. I invite you to join me on this journey back to the magic of a divinely aligned and well cared for you. And now, join me for today's episode. Hello, thank you so much for being here, and welcome to the very first episode of Meditations and Musings. This has been a long time coming, so please excuse me if I sound really excited and maybe a little nervous. And I'm going to try to get through what I intend to get through today. But what you will learn as you spend more time with me is that I do love tangents, and they're always well-meaning and they're always divinely guided. And sometimes they just sort of go off into space. But mostly I'm going to really intend to stay focused, to get through the content I want to get through, but also to just allow for spaciousness, allow for pivots, allow myself to trust my intuition. If something comes up and I'm feeling like we need to divest, and go divert, I will allow myself to do that. Most importantly, I would love to invite you to just settle in and to listen in whatever way is aligned with where you are in your life and in your day. Now, some episodes I will go right into a meditation, and in some episodes I will let you know that there will be a meditation towards the end. But most importantly, I want you to experience this in your time, in your own way, which is why I chose podcasts, because I adore podcasts. Seriously, I wouldn't create something that I wouldn't use myself. And I absolutely have my list of favorites. Once in a while, I'll find something new to listen to, but I love podcasts because they're intimate. It's just you and me and my microphone. And I'm sitting here in my meditation space. I'm doing everything I can to make sure that the sound is amazing, and my sound editing guy is going to do everything else to make sure that there's no background noise. I lit a candle for us, and I feel this is my space where I burn sage. This is my space where I meditate and I write and I pull tarot cards. So what I'm hoping is that the magic and the intentionality of the space infuses not just the recording and not just the content, but also infuses whatever it is that you're doing. When I listen to podcasts, I love to go for walks. I love to sit in my car when I wait for my son to come home from school. I love to listen when I drive. There's times that certain podcasts I listen to with a journal or a notepad and a pen because I'm learning so much. So I invite you to just really get to know me and get to know my voice and get to know what the heck it is that I'll be talking about. And if this is something that serves you, I hope you come back. And I am giving myself full permission to make mistakes, to get it wrong, to stumble. I don't have a script. I have a plan of what I want to talk about with some notes. So I know and I trust that we're going to go where we need to go. So whatever it is that you're doing, I just invite you to do it consciously. And the best way that I know how to do things consciously is to simply come into your breath. Simple, right? I mean, we overcomplicate things so much. So just take a nice deep breath. I'll do it with you. And just set an intention to really listen and absorb. This is your time, and time is so valuable. So let's go ahead and get started. So this is the introductory episode 00. And my deepest intention is to allow this to grow and to expand. And I cannot wait to say, this is episode 222. Like, I'm really planning on making this something that I really learn about and lean into and get into, and to invite you on this journey with me. I will be doing some interviews when it's appropriate, but mostly it's going to be you and me and meditations and musings. I love doing meditations. As you heard in the intro, I am the founder of the Divine Self-Care Circle, which is a year-long program. It's actually more than a year-long program. It's really evolved into a membership because I have women who've been in there from the very beginning. This is our 3rd year. And I'm also the founder of the Virtual Retreat Academy, which is where I teach women how to host virtual retreats for their clients, mostly coaches, mostly teachers who want to be able to teach online from anywhere they are in the world. And that is a gift that I've given to myself, to be able to work from anywhere. And it's something I really believe in as a way to empower women who are wanting to have the freedom and a lifestyle that really allows you to explore your different facets of yourself and to be the kind of mom or wife or corporate executive or whoever you are, that I want you to be the best version of that you can be. And in order to have that, you need spaciousness. And so that's what I want to talk with you about today. I want to introduce you to what's going to be a very deep root of what we talk about here on the Meditations and Musings podcast. And that is the divine feminine metrics of success in life, business, and the bedroom. You heard me mention that in the intro. So what I want to do today in this introductory episode is 2 things. One is tell you a little bit about myself, just so you know who I am, and just to let you know, do you even want to keep listening to this? Because I know your time is valuable, and I want to make sure that you and I get to know each other, and I would love to get feedback. So when you're ready to leave a comment or any sort of review on iTunes, I truly invite you to do that, because I love to know what is going on. Is this working? Is this really making a difference? I want to believe that it is, but I won't really know until you tell me. So I really am going to rely on you to leave me feedback and to let me know if this is really working for you. And I'd love to add on topics that you really want to hear about. So I recently did a survey with my audience and I got a huge response, and I'll be sharing that in an upcoming episode. But one of the top things that you wanted to hear from me is to really talk about daily spiritual practices. And so I will be sharing my own daily spiritual practices. As I learn new ones, I'm going to be sharing them with you, and I'm going to stumble, I'm going to make mistakes, and I'm going to try ones that are amazing, and then you're going to try them for yourself and see if it's something that works for you in your life. So just to give you a little bit of background, again, my name is Elena Lipson, and I'm the Divine Self-Care Mentor. I've been saying that for 3 years now, which is crazy. Can't believe that I've been doing this for this long, in terms of just really getting so passionate about self-care that I wanted to teach it and talk about it and write about it and to share it with the women that I work with all over the world. It's been really, really phenomenal. I started as a life and business coach and a corporate trainer 17 years ago now. Oh my gosh. That was back in New York and California. So I am originally a New York City girl. I was actually born in Russia, but I came to New York when I was just about 6 years old. And I absolutely thought that New York was the center of the world, because if you ask anyone who lives there, they'll tell you that that is in fact the center of the world, because why would you want to live anywhere else? The music, the food, anything open all night long, I was really in that mindset. And so my initial thought was that I was going to just live in New York and thrive in New York and work in New York. And I was going to work in one of those big, tall buildings with a gorgeous Valentino suit and shoes and a bag. And that was sort of my vision. But of course, life doesn't always go the way you want it to, and your preferences, your intentions change. And that's what happened with me. Somewhere along the way, my sister decided to move to California and get married. And as I started visiting her, I just could not shake the beauty and the water and the mountains and the palm trees and the warmth. Oh my gosh, the sunshine. I just didn't even know what I was missing. So I quickly set a new course for my life. And as soon as I finished university, I had to wait about 2 years because I wanted to finish school where I was in New York. I literally leased my apartment, sold all my furniture, and bought a one-way ticket to California, much to my mom's sadness. She still is in New York, but we do see her quite often. I moved to California literally 30 days after I decided I would. And so it was quite the whirlwind and quite the stressful situation, but also quite the exhilarating situation. So I went to California and I moved in with my sister and her husband, which was quite the adventure as well. We definitely got close, but we definitely butted heads. And I learned a lot about myself and my preferences and theirs. And so that was really beautiful. And I lived with them until they had their first son, who is, oh my gosh, he's in college now. Can't even believe it. Okay, shout out to you, my love, if you're listening. Okay, so then I moved out on my own, and really that's where my California adventures really began, when I was in my own sort of world and I was working and trying to figure out, like, navigating what my life in California was going to be like. So I started as a sales manager a manager for a beauty salon before I figured out how to hop into the corporate world, which I did pretty quickly. And that's where my adventures in sales and training and the whole thing, technology, began. And so I spent several years just trying to find the right fit for myself. In the meantime, I got my Microsoft system certification, and I got trained in sales, and I literally was, hard cold calling sales calls. So I got a lot of really good training along the way, trying to make it to where I really wanted to be, which I didn't know until I found it, really. But I had my eye on being a trainer and teaching, because that really is what I love to do. And so I became a corporate trainer, and I was so happy there. And I really, really loved the making of curriculum and teaching it and traveling. It was really what I loved to do. My favorite part, if I'm being truly honest, is the colorful flip charts that I made when I taught. I was really, really good at it. So I was actually brought in to do trainings that, really enhanced trainings that other people were doing, or teach pieces of it, because I was so good in front of the room. So I'm claiming that, I'm owning that, I'm a really good teacher. So I love to do it. So that, in terms of what I was doing at the corporate level, was really aligned with what I'm even doing now in terms of creating curriculum, trying to figure out how to teach people concepts that I want to, convey. So it really did infuse everything that I did in those years of learning in corporate world, really infuse everything that I'm doing now as a coach, as a teacher, as an online course curriculum developer. So I spent several years doing that, and I loved it, absolutely loved it. And then when my son was born, we moved to Washington State, which is where I am right now. And as I'm looking out the window in my room here, I can see the evergreens, I can see the big trees and the sunshine, and it was raining this morning, and it's beautiful out. We live in the forest. So right now, when I look out the window, instead of seeing tall skyscrapers, I see tall, tall, tall trees. So slightly different than New York City. And it really has infused our life with very much nature's medicine and peace. And it's really a phenomenal place where we raise our son, who's now 11. Oh my gosh. As I'm recording this, he is 11. My son is fishing today with my husband, so it's quite the adventure, and I am home recording podcasts, which is awesome. So quite the flexible existence that I have. So that is me. So I am married to my husband, we've been together for almost 18 years. We're going to have our 15th anniversary this year. And we're very, very happy. And we've done a lot of work to be very, very happy. And so it's a constant evolution in making sure that we are communicating well, that we are each taking care of ourselves, that we are honoring each other, all kinds of work that we do. And we play a lot. We play a lot together, which is amazing. And so I'll share more about him as we go. His name is Wolf. It's the coolest name ever. I know that. And my son is this beautiful 11-year-old, sweet, sassy, spicy kid who is a musician. He plays piano. He's been taking piano lessons since he was 5. He's just born musical. He always is singing, always is humming, always is playing an instrument. He's just quite a cool kid. And he loves fishing. He is very, very much into fishing right now. So that's where they are. They're out at the lake hoping to catch some catfish or some bass or whatever it is that they're catching. So let's see. I have a sister who is amazing, and she's my older sister, and she's an inspiration to me in so many ways in allowing myself to expand and receive. And I'll share more about her, I'm sure, if she gives me permission to. I also have a younger brother who is awesome, and he also lives in New York, so I miss him and I need to go visit him. So I guess that makes me the middle sister. Okay, so that's my family, and my mama lives in New York. My dad passed away years ago, and he was one of my greatest teachers in terms of playfulness and silliness and being loved in a really deep way. And I miss him terribly. He passed away many, many years ago, but he's in spirit, of course, always in my heart. So let's see, what else? I will share a lot more with you as I go. I feel like this is one of those ways that you can get to know me and to learn about me and to learn what makes me tick. So I teach self-care because I believe so deeply that making space to listen to your soul and your intuition is one of the most important things that you can do. And that self-care is really a way of being to manage your energy, your resonance, and your joy. And I learned about this importance of self-care because I spent many years, all those years that I was just telling you about in New York and in California and working, I never really got what it took to run a business, be a mom, be a wife, all those things, because, it just wasn't in my purview then. I just wasn't a mom and I wasn't a wife yet. And so I was working quite a bit and hustling quite a bit. And I landed myself, when I was working, I was also starting a coaching business. So those things together, plus never really learning how to stop, how to put myself first. I was very, very good at putting others first. And somewhere along the way, I'm sure I took care of myself in some ways, maybe a manicure here or there, but I never really took care of myself in a way that nourished and fulfilled my wheel of life in a profound way. And so I ended up with an autoimmune disease and with lots of pain in my body and weight loss going up and down for many years. I haven't talked about this very, very much, but when I was about 21, I was also diagnosed with something called PCOS, which is polycystic ovarian syndrome. And they told me I wasn't going to be able to have a baby. And it was just a mess. My body was a mess. And so now I treat my body like the temple that it is, and I treat myself like the goddess that I am. And that allows me to really be there for the people that I adore and for my clients and for you. And if I didn't do that for myself, I would just be a mess again. So I don't want to do that. So if you're hearing any part of yourself in this story, in my story, I invite you to listen a little bit more closely and to really understand that feeling stuck, feeling overwhelmed, feeling like you're not first on your list is totally normal. We are people who love to help each other, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm never going to shame you into not taking care of other people. But what I want to invite you to do is to start to just redefine what success truly means and to redefine what it means on your terms, and to first and foremost stop comparing yourself to anyone else, because they're not living your life. They don't wear your lens on this life. They just don't know what you need like you do. So I'm never going to tell you to defer what you think is right for your life and take my advice, because I don't know you. And you know what's best for you. Now, am I going to give you some advice? Am I going to share what works for me? Heck yes, absolutely. And I read a lot, I learn a lot. I feel like my mission in life is to just really learn as many spiritual practices and real life practices and break it down. What's the best way to be a mama practice? All those things I'll share with you. But if something doesn't resonate, by all means, ignore it or take what works and just leave it there. So today I want to explore something that is really going to be the foundation of this podcast as we start. And it's really about really getting aware about what are the old metrics of success, the outdated metrics of success, And what are the new metrics of success in the divine feminine style, which is what we're going to be talking about. And some things that I tell you are going to make you feel resistant, and some things that I tell you are going to excite you. And I hope everything in between. But I want you to start thinking about, what does success feel and look and sound like to you in your life? But I want to explore both sides so that you can see how it's possible to reach a level of success in your life, business, and the bedroom while not sacrificing anything, not sacrificing your health, not sacrificing your body, not sacrificing your relationships. Nothing has to be sacrificed in order for you to succeed in a way that feels really good and to really feel like you're worthy of it. So we're going to talk about self-worth quite a bit as well. So I want to introduce you to my 8 divine feminine metrics of success, and also what the other side is. What are the old metrics? And I'll share them at the same time so that you can sort of see how they work together. So the first metric of divine feminine success is play. Play. Yeah, play. So play is the first metric because it puts yourself, your body, your spirit into a mode of not taking life so seriously, right? So on the other side, so the new metric is play, and the old metric is getting serious and feeling like your work is labor and feeling like you're in a state of obligation. And that kind of state is very constricted, whereas play is very open. And you can add play into your life in many different ways. And we will talk about that. I'm going to have an episode on each one of these things and a meditation on each one of these things so that you can see how these metrics actually play into your life. So the first metric is play. That's the new way. The old way is serious. Everything is very, very serious. And from a serious place, it's really hard to be creative. From a playful place, it's very easy to be creative. If you spend any time with children, you'll see there's no rules. There's no regulations about how to play, how to draw, how to dress. There's this freedom in play. And through play, we access ourselves as children. We really are able to access that part of ourselves that laughs easily, that just doesn't take things so seriously. So play is one of the metrics. The second metric, which I adore, is pleasure. Pleasure is a metric of success in my life. I always look at how much pleasure I'm allowing myself to have. Now, this is going to be pleasure in food, pleasure in the bedroom, pleasure in the way I dress. The opposite of pleasure, the old metric, is that you have to be in anguish or you have to pay your dues and suffer in some way to succeed. That's the old way. That's the pay your dues for 20 years until you finally climb the ladder and get the job that you never really wanted in the first place, right? No. Doesn't have to be that way. The alternative is pleasure. And again, I'll be showing you how to infuse these into your life. I'm just introducing you to the concepts today. So play and pleasure. The third divine feminine metrics of success is ease. Even just saying that word. Now, again, this doesn't mean that building a business or being a mom or a wife is always easy, but there could be a level of ease in your life and what you're creating. Now, the old metric is that you have to earn it, is that you have to be in misery, is that you have to somehow earn your worth, that it doesn't have to come easy. And when things come easy, sometimes we don't even value them as much as when they come really in a difficult situation. So this is about redefining what success means and trusting that, wow, this comes easy to me. I wonder if this is a path I should follow. Yes, it is. It doesn't have to be hard. Now, again, this doesn't mean that you're never going to be in a situation where you're suffering or things don't come easy to you, because when you're learning something new, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be uncomfortable, and that's okay. But you can bring a mindset of ease to it. You can make it simple for yourself. We overcomplicate things so often when we don't have to. We don't ask for support. We don't ask for help. We don't take time off when we need to, which we'll be talking about as well. So ease. Ease is the new way, and suffering and earning it is the old way. So that's one of my favorites as well. Well, they all are. I'm going to say that every time. Okay, so play, pleasure, and ease. Number 4 is grace. Grace, like, oh my gosh, like no obstacles in my way. Everything just happened the way it was supposed to. Synchronicity is aligning. Grace. Grace is happening and walking with me. Now, the old way is obstacles are inevitable and it's going to be an uphill climb. And I know I'm not going to be able to do it without really sweating it out. And, it's a whole different way of being. Whereas inviting grace into your life is accepting that the right person will show up in the right divine timing, and I'm going to trust that, and I'm not going to give up, and I'm not going to start creating problems where there are none, right? So again, grace is all about trusting your timing and trusting your pace and trusting that good things are on their way and not obstacles. And even if it is an obstacle, it's meant for you to learn something. So even the obstacles become blessings. So again, I'm not seeing everything through rosy-colored glasses. I see most things through rosy-colored glasses, to be honest. But this is a way of seeing things that really starts to shift how you make decisions and how you process life. And that's really where the magic is. So that's number 4. So we've got play, pleasure, ease, and grace. And now number 5 is a slower pace, like, slower pace, right? Oh my gosh. So the opposite of that is really about hustle. It's all about like, gotta keep going, faster, 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 bigger, better, faster, right? That's how I felt when I was in New York. And that's still how I feel sometimes when I go to New York, because it's a faster energy. But women, we know that everything feels better when it's slower. When you chew your food slower, you can taste it. When you sit down with a friend and talk instead of running, you can actually hold space for each other. In the bedroom, when you're with your partner and you slow it down, you can actually feel each other. You can sense each other. You can taste each other in a way that if you're going fast, you're just going to skip over the juicy bits. So the new way is a slower pace. The old way is hustle, pushing through really, really fast. Now, listen, I'm still a New Yorker at heart, so there's definitely times where I move quickly and I got to get things done. But in general, I find that by slowing down, you actually speed up your progress in a really profound way. So try it out for yourself. Next time you're in a hurry, pause, take a deep breath, slow your roll, and see what happens. Okay, so we've got play, pleasure, ease, grace, a slower pace. Number 6 is celebration. Celebration. That is the new divine feminine metric of success. Now, the opposite of that, the old metric, the old way, is to keep raising the bar and never celebrate your freaking self until you hit the $1 million mark. Oh my God. Okay, seriously, you got to slow it down. Now, when you pause and you celebrate, what you're doing is you're actually getting into a sense of gratitude. You're grateful for the little tiny wins. You're grateful you're celebrating yourself for recording your podcast. Oh my God, it's so awesome. You're celebrating yourself because you're doing the work. It's not all about like fakely patting yourself on the back and then calling it a day. I mean, like, just pause to celebrate. I mean, I see people, even online, you'll see this all the time. Like they hit a goal and they set the next one within seconds. Like they barely pause to open up a bottle of champagne and celebrate their win. Now, you don't have to wait until a massive win to celebrate yourself. It's the small daily celebrations of yourself, of your work, of each other, of the people in your life that really add texture and depth and meaning without feeling like you're forever raising the bar on the next goal. So celebration is actually a huge symbol, ceremony, and honoring. It's almost like saying, thank you, more please, right? Thank you, more please. Try doing that. Try just saying thank you for something that happens, for something that you've accomplished, for something that came easily. So celebration is one of the most powerful divine feminine metrics of success. So we've got play, pleasure, ease, grace, a slower pace, and celebration. Number 7 is spirit. I also refer to this as your inner guidance system, right? So that's the new way. The new way is trusting that you do know what you need to know and that you are in a process of uncovering it. The old way is seeking external advice until you're blue in the face, until you're confused and overwhelmed because everyone's advice is different. So, oh my gosh. I mean, talk about if you don't know what to do, make sure you get advice from someone else. Now, this is different from having a mentor or a trusted peer or someone that you can go to who really is an expert in their field or someone that you trust to get advice or to get a perspective. But this is after you've already figured out where your heart and soul are. If you go to someone without even taking a pause to figure out what you think about it, then whatever they say is going to become your advice. And ultimately, this is your life. This is your path. You've got all the information. If you go to someone as a sounding board or brainstorming, that's awesome. But if you're forever seeking someone else to tell you what to do, oh girl, let me tell you, it's a never-ending cycle. So the more you can get in touch with yourself, with your spiritual practices, with some form of meditation or journaling is a huge one, right? Sometimes I like to say, I don't even know what I think until I write it down because there's so much like rolling around in your mind that it's very confusing. And if you spend time on social media or reading books or listening to many, many podcasts like I do, it can really get a little much. You have to have some radio silence once in a while. And one of the best ways to do that is magic of nature. Like get outside, be in nature, go for a walk, take a bath without your phone. Like just sit for a while, let yourself be bored, take a journal and just start writing. What do I think about this? So you can really get to know yourself. And then you start to really build up your intuitive muscle and your spiritual connection so that you get to decide what's right for you. And that is so huge to be able to live life in your terms. So, okay, one more. We got one more. Are you still with me? Are you with me? I hope you are. So this is probably going to be the only episode where I talk this much in terms of like teaching content, but I will do that once in a while because like I said, I was a born teacher and I love to do it. So this is the 8th divine feminine metric of success, and it's called pause. Also integration. I love both of those words. Now, that's the new paradigm, right? That's the new metric. The old metric, instead of pause, is to hustle and persist. It is to push through. This is closely linked to what I was talking about in celebration. Instead of stopping and really integrating what just happened to you and processing it, you keep going no matter what. And that pushing through place is what I believe to be the loss of so much processed information and insight that can happen when you allow yourself to pause and integrate what just happened. It could be something phenomenal, like you just gave a keynote speech, or you were traveling, or you had a great client session and you go right to the next one. If you don't pause between those things, you don't gain the huge benefits of insight, of reflection, of digesting. So again, this is where you give yourself permission to pause also when you don't know something for sure. And instead of taking action in that moment, you might pause even just for 5 minutes and go take a walk and process, or just allow yourself to say, you know what, I'm going to take a little bit of time to just integrate what happened and to really let it simmer and become part of who I am. Maybe I just learned something new. So we can discuss this in many, many different areas of life, but pause and integration are key elements of allowing yourself to bring a depth to your work, to your life, to your friendships, and to just information in general, right? Pause to integrate. So there you have it. Play, pleasure, ease, grace, a slower pace, celebration, spirit, and pause or integration. Those are the new divine feminine metrics of success that are the core, the anchor of the work that I'm doing in this world. I will be talking a lot about redefining the hustle on your own terms. I will be talking a lot about trusting your pace. And most importantly, I want to hear from you. Are you having a little bit of aha moments? Are you having any resistance? Are you curious? I hope you're curious, because there's so much to share in the divine feminine metrics of success in life, business, and the bedroom. And when you start living in this way, to really understand that pleasure and play can be legitimate time holders on your calendar, you're going to start looking at building your calendar in a different way. When I sit down and look at my week ahead on Sunday night, I always make sure that there's some form of play and pleasure and celebration and spirit going on throughout the week. And that includes things like going to the spa, going for a walk, meeting a good friend for coffee, meeting a new friend for coffee, making time to have a date with my husband, playtime with my son, all kinds of things. Not every week is filled with all of these things, but I make sure to at least look at it to make sure that I'm not running on empty on any of these areas. Because when you're running on empty, you start going to the negative, and the negative is a place that gets filled. It's a vacuum, right? So it'll get filled with other people's intentions, other people's needs, with other people telling you what to do with your time without really understanding that what that does over time is build resentment. It builds a sense of obligation, but not in a way that feels good. And so life is meant to feel good. Even the struggles, even the obstacles, yeah, you can have those in your life, and you can still choose grace. You can still choose to slow down and be in gratitude for what you do have. So this is the foundation of what we're going to be talking about. So I'd love to hear from you. I'd love it if you would go to iTunes, find this Meditations and Musings podcast, and leave a review, both for this episode and ongoing, because I want to know what you think. What are your thoughts? Are you ready for the new divine feminine metrics of success, and to really lean in, lean back, slow down, and really stop playing the game of the hustle, because you just don't need to. There's so much magic, so much synchronicity, so much joy in really being the divine goddess that you are, and learning to trust yourself and your voice and your truth to the core, and allowing yourself to be lit up from the inside so that you can inspire those around you to live a life of truth and peace and ease as well, and become a light in their own life. It can only help, in this world that we're living in. It can really only help. I'm so, so grateful for your presence. I'm so grateful for your ear. I'm grateful for your heart. Thank you so much for staying with me. I am really excited and going to celebrate that I recorded the first episode, and I can't wait to record some more. And I am just feeling really good. So I wish you a phenomenal day. Thank you so much for being with me and following this cycle of divine feminine metrics. I can't wait to share more on our next episode. And I wish you an amazing, phenomenal, lit up day. This is Elena Lipson, your divine self-care mentor, and I'll see you again on the next episode of Meditations and Musings. Thank you so much for listening and learning about the new divine self-care way of being in your life, business, and the bedroom, based on the divine feminine metrics of success: pleasure, play, ease, grace, and a slower pace. If you're ready to bust the myth of overwhelm and tap into an inspired start to each day, I've put together a free video series for you to help you start each day with energy, inspiration, and ignite that inner pilot light which attracts joy, magic, and synchronicity. You can access my 3-step magic morning practice to help you ignite your inner light and attract the abundance that you're craving. Head on over to elenalipson.com/gift. And if you enjoyed this episode, I would so love if you share it with a friend, a sister, a mother, a daughter, and please leave a review. That is how the magic starts to ripple out. Here's wishing you a day full of beauty, magic, and divine self-care. I'll see you next time at the Meditations and Musings podcast.